Hey folks, down here at the hangar. This will be my first Sunday rendition of my channel.
Well, why don't you come here?
So we're sitting here having a discussion about spell check. And we have some dissenting opinions. Hold on, let me turn the camera around. We got John and Dave here, and Max, the author of the stencils. So what do you think about this, John? Tell me what your attitude is towards this.
Well, it's really simple. When I first read it, the words were spelled wrong. And I think they should be spelled right for a reason that is, in our time, we're literate. We spell things right, and when people read them later on, they say, those guys were stupid. They didn't even spell it right. And I think they ought to be spelled right. And Max was right when he did it, but he got overruled. So they're kind of this way. And I'm lobbying to get the spelled right, so in the future people read it and say, those guys are smart. They did it right.
But we did do it right.
We did.
You have to define right, and that is
well, I'm defining right.
correct.
I am defining right as
Historically correct.
right spelling.
Correct.
Sorry,
I don't want to reflect on Max.
John, you were overruled by my viewers. Sorry, man. This is what it is.
Well, one against many sometimes wins.
Yeah. Thanks for your opinion, John.
I can tell that it was not received well. How about you, Dave?
Well, as an ex-school teacher,
Okay, we
if
got
they
this.
allowed me a red pencil and I could put a red pencil by each of those errors, I would be okay with it.
Well, maybe we just make those misspellings red anyway.
Put big red circles around them. Okay, thank you guys. And I got a special thing. A few months ago, one of our buddies came and gave us a deal that he built, and it's really special to us. And I'm going to turn the camera around and introduce you to Morris Nelson. Hey Morris, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. So Morris, when did you start this project, Morris?
About 1958.
You were in the Air Force at the time.
No, I was just in high school
Oh, you were in high school, and you went in the Air Force
later.
later. But what he built for us, well, he didn't build it for us, but we've come to acquire it, is this scale model, scratch-built landing gear, main landing gear for an A-26. So tell us about it, Morris.
I had built model airplanes for quite a while as a boy, a younger boy. Could never get enough money to buy kits. We were poor people and always had to make things up. One day I came across an A-26 kit, which was made out of 1/8-inch plywood, and I figured I'd really like that. So I started building it, eventually got it built, but I never flew it very well. It was an old control line model, and it was roughly 1/2-inch scale, maybe 3/4-inch scale. And I decided after the demise of that model that I would build a larger version of an A-26. So I came up with some 3-view drawings from Douglas actually, and proceeded to draw the plans. First, I made the strut out of some steel tubing that I had, and learned how to hook it all together with, actually it's silver solder. And it turned out pretty good, and I did that all with a file, so it was pretty slow. A few years later, I decided that I would make the wheels and the tire. I'd never made a tire before, but I figured out that I could get some recapping rubber and make a mold on a lathe that I had and figure out how to make a tire.
And it says MD Nelson Limited.
Yeah, I had to put my name somewhere. That's who that is, who made that tire. I was in college at the time, and my college buddies would rib me because they would go home and make a cake in the oven, but I would go home and make a tire in the oven. So after a few trials, I managed to make the tire, or a set of tires that looked pretty good. The wheels were made out of a solid piece of aluminum, and with a drill press and some little jeweler files, I made the spokes. Took quite a while to do that, but it started looking pretty good. And at that time, I was becoming interested in girls, and it
Kind of ruined it.
kind of ruined it. Yeah, the whole idea of making a landing gear got put in a box. So I had this box, and after a few years of being married, I decided I'd get back on the A26, and I made some more molds for the fiberglass shells, of which this is part of them, and cowlings, and the rest of the nacelle. And as time went on, we moved and had children, and all that got put in a box again. I decided that I would work on the retracting mechanism when I worked for a company that sold, actually it was Deere and Company, and I could buy O-rings, so I could make a cylinder, and my intention was to retract this with air pressure.
Okay. And it does articulate, correct?
It actually, if you could get enough pressure and keep the hoses on it, it would retract. But that was another little setback because I couldn't keep the hoses on it, and make a long story short, put it in a box again. As time went on, I decided that possibly I would keep the landing gear. And so I figured out how to use the fiberglass pieces that had been the cowling and the nacelle to make the rest of this out of it. And I printed in 3D printing some pieces that would support all the gear together. So this is a 3D print. This is plywood. This is fiberglass. This is aluminum. So we got all those pieces put together, and then I became acquainted with the people who had the real A26.
You mean us?
Us, yeah, you guys. And I didn't really have any intention of doing anything with it, except some of the crew down here said I should bring it down to the open house, which I did not want to do, because it was a model of the real thing, and the real thing's got to be better than the model. But they eventually won, and I brought it down to one of the shows, one of the open houses here. And there were a lot of people who liked it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought I'd make the dust cover so that I wouldn't have to keep dusting the thing, because it kept collecting dust like crazy.
So you
So
got
I
this.
came up with this glass tube. Well, the glass tube had to have a lid, and so while it kept the dust off it, it still let the dust get in here. So I made a lid for it out of, I wanted it to be a gear,
Well,
an internal gear.
you succeeded.
And so
It says 1-inch scale,
Douglas
Douglas A26, main landing gear, port side. And what else does it do?
actually it just has a piece of glass in it, and it has my name on the bottom.
But you've got dates in here.
The dates are basically what I said. In 1958, I made the strut. In 1964, I made the tire and the wheel. In 2000, I made the airframe, all that airframe, and then I made the box, which is this glass thing, in 2022. So it's just a record of making all this. And then my friend Bob Schroeder convinced me that I should give this thing to the airport where they have the real one, and that's where it lives today.
And we really appreciate it. It's a beautiful piece, and it's amazing to see the intricacies and his attention to detail that went into this, and I just wanted to share it with you. Thanks for watching.